you started in the kind of 05, 06-ish area, and then
Yeah.
now to that story kind of ends around where, like the current place now, but also 2019, 2020, 21 area, right? To current.
Well, I sort of view the move from New York to LA as that was the shift in my career. So I moved to LA in 2015,
Okay.
moved to New York in 2005. So I spent a decade in New York and capped that off with, the work that I did with Beyonce and then sort of just beginning my work with the Chainsmokers in New York and then continuing it in LA.
Yeah.
So that was the transition from being an engineer to a mixer and a producer and then eventually a songwriter.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, a couple of questions based on this, and I think it'll be some great talking points. I'd love to hear, even taking it back all the way to the beginning to Duro, you moved from Toronto to New York. How
Well,
did
I moved
you.
from Toronto to Florida. I
Okay.
did a year of school at Full Sail, and then I moved to New York. So
Oh,
it wasn't
okay.
even, it was 11 months I did in Florida, and then I moved to New York.
Is that how long the program was, or did you not finish the program?
No, the program was 12 months, but I had done a year of college prior, and so I had transfer credit that I could, so I was able to skip a month. Yeah.
Very cool. So is that was actually, I guess, answering my question to some degree. Is like, so I guess from Full Sail you got that internship with Duro, or how did that go about?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, Full Sail had sort of notified me of the possibility of it. The
Mm,
way I got the internship, I've told this story a bunch, but I really had to fight for it. Actually, I didn't even get an interview. I sent a resume in and I got a courtesy email from his current assistant saying, we loved your resume. We thought you were great. However, you mentioned you were a DJ on your resume, and that's where my name came from. I was a DJ in Toronto. I was playing nightclubs and stuff like that. And they said, yeah, you mentioned you're a DJ on your resume, and we've had DJs leak music before. It's not really a good look if you're looking for a studio
very
job.
interesting.
And so it was a courtesy email saying, we thought your resume was great, but unfortunately we can't hire you. Our suggestion would be remove DJ from your resume if you're looking for other jobs like this. And I was so adamant. Like first of all, I'm a Canadian. I've moved to New York. I'm on a temporary visa. The only way I get to stay and fulfill the career that I envisioned is to have somebody meaningful open up enough doors and opportunities for me to have the ability to get a long-term
Hmm.
visa. It's actually a difficult thing to do. Keep in
Hmm.
mind, this was before Drake was a thing. So the Toronto recording industry was like not a thing.
Hmm.
Now it is because Drake is sort of such a enormous artist that you have all these new producers and songwriters and artists and other people coming up under him. Not even necessarily just signed, just the fact that he's from
Yeah.
Toronto and doing it at such a high level, it inspires the city to want to go do it. And so now there's much more of a recording music business in Toronto. It's still not what LA is or New York, but it's meaningful. But that never existed. So there was
Yeah.
no option for me to have the career I wanted in Toronto at the time. There might be now. And yeah, and so I basically begged for an interview from Duro to jump back to that. And I said, listen, I would never leak music. I want this more than anything in the world. Just give me a chance. Just meet me and then you decide. They said, well, unfortunately, we've already filled the position, but I'll tell you what, why don't you come by the studio and we'll just give you a tour and just show you what we do. And
Wow.
what. So I was like,
Which is still very cool on their behalf as well, you know.
yeah, I mean, I felt a little defeated, but I really
Sure.
wasn't taking no
Sure.
for an answer. I was very confident in my emails. I wasn't, I felt disappointed, but they didn't see that. So they let me come in to just tour the studio. And that tour eventually, what it seemed like, turned into an interview. I sat in the room with Duro and he started asking me questions and he let me ask him questions and became a bit of an interview. And then I left and that was in, I think, November of 2005. About a month later, a couple weeks later, around my birthday, which is December 14th. So it was probably around December, middle of December somewhere. I get a call saying, all right, we're going to have you come in. So you start January 2nd. And I had flown back to Toronto for the holidays. And so I like booked an earlier ticket home. And normally I would come home like the 5th of January, something like that. So booked an earlier ticket home and landed and went straight to work, you know? Yeah.
100%, man.